Game developers are the ones that actually make the games. They're the ones who do all of the dirty creative work. The publishers are the ones that do all the businessy stuff, like get the funding, do the market research, do all of the marketing, set the release schedule, and actually put out or publish the game. Ultimately, publishers are the ones that end up making these decisions that could send a game right into the shitter. What are these decisions, you might ask? Well, let's play the thing, and I'll tell you all about it. The importance of publishers is debatable, especially with the rise of digital content. I like to think of publishers as record labels, and the developers are like recording artists or recording studios. Very similar situations happening here. Publishers and record labels were very important when that was the only way to get your product into stores, but now with the internet, marketing the game yourself is a viable option. Regardless of all this, AAA games are so big that they might still need a little bit of help, or whatever. So they get publishers to do all of the boring business stuff. Developers are notoriously overworked as it is. So when a publisher does some market research and it turns out the testers don't like your main character, then the developers are forced to make massive changes. Oh, and by the way, you gotta hit that same deadline. So now all of that work you just did was a waste, and your development schedule was all out of whack. This could mean cutting features, hiring new staff, and going over budget. All that great stuff. Publishers are also the ones who decide, well, it might be more financially sustainable to make a slightly modified version of the same game every year, rather than take our time to make significant innovations. I'm calling you out, Far Cry. Not happy about that whole annualization thing. Previous victims of annualization are Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed. I used to be a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed series, but I just got burnt out. Same thing with Call of Duty. Those games have seen a clear decline in quality in their single-player campaigns. Publishers are also the ones who decide, well, we can squeeze some more money out of them if we get them content after release. Paid content. So push that season pass. It's pretty clear that Battlefront was meant to have more in it. Maybe even more polish. It doesn't feel like I'm playing a finished game. It feels like I'm playing a demo or a multiplayer mode. I'm sure if DICE had more time, they would have loved to have put a single-player campaign in there. And I understand the importance of getting the game out before The Force Awakens gets released, but I think a realistic scope is more important. I think they should have started planning this one a little bit earlier. And instead of packing all this extra goodness into the game itself, they decided to save it for later and charge consumers almost the same price as the game itself. That's kind of a ridiculous amount of money to squeeze out of people. Destiny has a ton of DLC too, but at least that game felt like a $60 game when it came out. And the DLC has a lot of content packed into it. I would blame Activision for the poor marketing of Destiny. It was marketed as a first-person shooter, not an RPG. Should have touched on that a little more instead of just comparing it to Call of Duty and Halo. That's how you get people disappointed. The latest example of publishers ruining a great game for me is Rainbow Six Siege. The single-player situations are fun, but why the hell am I going into these situations alone? Why are there no AI characters in the whole game? I don't mind there not being a campaign, but I want a team. I want what Rainbow Six is known for. Methodical planning and bossing around your teammates. That's fun. Making them breach doors that you know are way too dangerous for you to do. That adds strategy to the game. It looks to me like they didn't have enough time to add a good enough AI or planning mechanics into the game. It looks like they were forced to focus solely on multiplayer, and as a result, the single player is just a one-person version of the multiplayer. There's also some form of microtransactions to speed up the leveling process. For shame, Ubisoft. And don't get me started on Konami. They f***ed up Metal Gear Solid 5 real bad. The game's whole third act had to be cut, which destroys the narrative. Then they just straight up fire the game's creator before the game's even released. That's completely unacceptable. And good on Jeff Keighley for calling them out on that.
Informed by a lawyer representing Konami just recently that he would not be allowed to travel to tonight's awards ceremony to accept awards. It's inconceivable to me that an artist like Hideo would not be allowed to come here and celebrate with his peers and his fellow teammates. Such an incredible game as Metal Gear Solid 5.
Good on Jeff Keighley. Wow.
Hideo,
just ripping
that.
Wow.
Right now.
And for shame on this woman for being awkward as
You need to find the actor that captures the voice.
What is the
of
thing,
the
like
character.
scrolling real slow? You little teleprompter?
Like, who could imagine Metal Gear without the voice of David Hayter?
Yeah.
So many like
Sorry.
cheap shots.
That was a bit mean.
Anyway, what do you guys think about publishers ruining games? Do you think a lot of these things are entirely their fault? Do you think some of the blame falls into the developers? Do you feel bad for the developers? Do you think publishers need to ease back a little bit? Also, when a game's delayed, are you mad? I almost never get mad when a game gets delayed because a lot of times it just has to be done. If they don't delay it, it's going to be a crappy game. Leave in the comments below. Add me on Twitter. All this old social media garbage. Also, I finally made a page on BusterTees.com where you can see some of the shirts I've designed for them. Click on the link in the description and you can see some of the designs. Some of them aren't there for some reason, but that's some bugs we're trying to work out. As always, new videos every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Live streams on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. This week on Monday, which is the day this video is released, I will be on Vicky's stream, The Geek Chic, on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Geek Chic. I think we're playing Portal, which would be fun because we're going to yell at each other the whole time and it'll be great. Anyway, thank you guys very much. Have a good week. The set pieces are absolutely gorgeous. This is one of the best looking games I have ever played. But besides that, this game gets kind of boring. I guess you could say the shooting mechanics are kind of unfun. And the inability to reload gives you this helpless feeling.
And people are going to be upset that they're not, serious protagonists, that they're not female Shepard or the new Lara Croft.
Like, I completely understand where they're coming from. It would cause a lot of controversy if they brought that game here because it would be really hard to market.
Yeah.
Because if somebody saw a commercial for that on TV, they'd be like, what is this? This sucks. I hate this,